enemy ground fire. Both the pilot and co-pilot have an excellent view of the ground beneath the Mohawk. This is an important feature for low-altitude, high-speed observation. Ejection seats will make it possible for the pilot and observer to get out of the plane safely in an emergency from the extremely low altitudes at which they will be flying. It is to be equipped with the latest in navigation equipment and will be capable of flying day or night in almost any weather. Facilities for aerial cameras are built into the fuselage. The cameras are operated remotely from the cockpit. When pictures are taken, this outer panel opens and closes automatically. Aft of the camera compartment is a large area where electronic components are installed. The Mohawk will be an ideal vehicle for the new television, radar, and infrared surveillance equipment that is being developed by the Army. Perhaps the best feature of this relatively sophisticated Army aircraft is its ingenious arrangement of flaps and ailerons, which makes it possible to land and take off on short, unimproved strips. Here in Philadelphia is a vehicle which is in its first stage of development. It takes off as a helicopter, then tilts its wings and propellers forward and becomes a conventional airplane. The tilt wing had undergone months of testing before the early morning in July 1958, when the first transition from vertical to horizontal configuration was tried. All indications pointed toward success, but it had never been done before. Aviation history was made that morning. The transition was perfect. There is every reason to believe that within a few years, the Army aviator will be able to take off vertically from a small clearing, then fly with the speed and fuel economy of a conventional airplane to a landing site no larger than his tilt wing's length and width. Next to Toronto, Canada, to see the first flying model of the Caribou. Several Caribous will be purchased by the Army for testing as a battlefield troop and cargo carrier. Let's watch with General Easterbrook as the Caribou is put through its paces. The most remarkable feature of the Caribou is its extremely short takeoff and landing ability. Watch this. The Caribou will be capable of carrying 28 combat troops. With this load, it can fly close to 400 miles without refueling. Thus, as an air ferry, a single Caribou will be able to haul hundreds of men short distances without refueling. It will operate in rough country without prepared strips. For this 10-ton plus airplane requires only 500 feet from touchdown to a full stop. Here is the future of Army aviation. The 15,000 soldiers who are directly involved in Army aviation today. They are working to improve the balance between firepower and movement so that tomorrow's war, if it comes, will find our side with the advantage. Army aviation is more than a new weapon. It multiplies the effectiveness of every weapon we have now and those we will have in the future. How soon our flying soldiers can realize the advantages which aviation can provide depends on our ability to develop this potential and to acquire the air vehicles to do the job.
"25 years ago, the Army cavalry still relied on the horse for mobility, as had Genghis Khan centuries before. In World War II, the Army traded in its horses for tanks and developed powerful armored divisions and armored cavalry regiments to give it the mobility essential to victory. Following VJ Day, the helicopter began making its appearance in Army maneuvers, and by the time of the Korean War, was ready to provide Army commanders with the means of rapidly moving supplies over areas inaccessible to ground vehicles. It also proved invaluable in the rapid evacuation of wounded, directly from the battlefield to hospitals in the rear. Army aviation also served widely for reconnaissance and surveillance. In short, it had become an integral part of the combat scene. Success of the Army on a future battlefield will depend largely upon its ability to move swiftly and decisively. In this field, Army air vehicles will undoubtedly play a vital part. Now, this is Sergeant Stuart Queen, your host for The Big Picture.
The Big Picture is an official report for the armed forces and the American people. Produced by the Army Pictorial Center. Presented by the Department of the Army in cooperation with this station.